These guns have the same wear, same pattern, same finish, and are from the same collection. The only difference is that one is a souvenir gun. Souvenir guns are a weird thing in Counter-Strike. Not a ton of people want them, not a ton of people open them, and there's a few reasons for that. But they do have a few things interesting about them in terms of their pricing. And ever since the knife trade-up update, a lot of people are wondering, could Valve or would Valve do something like this with souvenir guns? And I think that the gap that you're looking at in terms of pricing of these guns is your answer to that question. So let's dive in a little bit to see what we're talking about. As we know, since the knife trade-up update, a lot of people are asking or worrying what's next on Valve's checklist of shit to do to fuck up everyone's life. Right, Valve touched something we all thought was permanent, we all thought was untouchable, and that was the high-tier knife market. So now nothing feels off the table. And one obvious next thought is souvenir trade-ups and the possibility of that being added into the game. I'm sure you do know, but if you don't, just for any beginners here, 10 guns, 1 output, 1 rarity tier above from the same collection. Now for one, it would drive the opening of souvenir packages. Valve does have an incentive for this because they charge for the souvenir packages. They're not dropped weekly. They cost $3 per souvenir package. You do get some free ones when the major comes out itself when you do the pick'ems. However, they could be effectively priced at the same price due to the pass costing like $15 to $16 itself. And while people buy them, a lot of people do not open them. There's a ton of unopened souvenir packages because people just don't really want these skins for themselves. You don't have the average buyer purchasing a souvenir package when they can go ahead and just buy a case, going for that chance of a knife. Sort of runs parallel to the terminal system, right? The Genesis terminal was not very popular because it didn't have a knife offering, which kind of just removes a lot of the incentive to open the terminal in the first place. It is the driving factor, of course, for cases. So the fact that the souvenir does not have one makes it harder for people to justify spending money on opening one. But by adding trade-ups and adding a second layer to the souvenir packages would kind of get rid of that and negate the fact that there is a knife absent from the collection. But while that may seem interesting and while it may seem on the surface beneficial for Valve to do something because of that fact, I don't think this is the direction that they're going to go down. Welcome back to Debate. It's been a while since we did an episode of this. If you're new to the channel, this is where we just talk about, speculation, things that could happen in the future, and kind of talk theories, talk what could happen in the market. This is just for fun, a little thought exercise. If you want to submit a potential submission, I have a QR code on the screen. Scan it. It brings you to like a Google form. Write something. It has to be pretty fleshed out if you want me to use it, but all ideas and all suggestions will be read and taken into account. Now, personally, I don't think the dip is dipping hard, boys, and I'm probably going to inject quite a little bit of money today. If you'd like to see me purchase some skins tonight, be sure to tune in on twitch.tv. Valve does this because I think souvenirs actually pose and have their own very unique and specific niche within the market that nothing else can really take, and it is simply because of the trade-up system, right? As I've harped on a billion times on this channel, trade-ups provide stability and they provide price floors within the market due to the fact that you could trade up from one rarity tier to another. And that's by giving every single skin within a case or a collection utility. So even if the skin is ugly and you don't like it and it's on a gun that nobody uses, it still has a price floor because of the guns above it. I think the most glaring example to see that in action is the Negev Mjolnir from the Norse collection. While the skin itself does look pretty good, it is on a Negev, right? People just aren't using a Negev. No one wants to spend $3,000 on a Negev. The fact that it's $3,000 is because one of those is a 10% chance at a Op Gungnir. So whatever the Op Gungnir's price is, the Negev Mjolnir is going to follow that as sort of a derivative, right? When you buy a purple, you're not just buying a purple, you're also buying a 10% chance at a pink. A Op Man-O-War is now no longer just a red Op. It's now a 20% chance for a knife in general, but it's also like a point whatever percent chance of a Karambit Ruby. So the price has to reflect that little chance that you have for a Karambit Ruby in the Op Man-O-War's price. But souvenirs, we have the same guns, but with none of that infrastructure existing within their specific systems. A souvenir purple is going to reflect its price in terms of the rarity, but that's it. Beyond that, it's whatever the person is willing to pay for it. There's no math tethering it to the next rarity tier above it and the rarity tier below it. So if there's a light blue that people like, it will be decently expensive, but, you know, of course deflated because of its rarity, or lack thereof. But the low tier light blues that nobody wants, well, those are going to be 3 cents, even in factory new. So souvenirs are doing something in the market that nothing else is actually doing or able to do. It's the clearest way in which we can see play skin demand and an average consumer demanding a gun because they want to actually use it. And I think people also forget what it means for the items themselves, right? Someone who has a bunch of DreamHack 2013 souvenirs or Katowice 2014 sticker souvenirs, they're not sitting on it because of the possibility of a trade-up update happening. So you have your collectors, and they have like just a fundamentally different relationship with what they're holding as opposed to someone who's holding for trade-up value. And I think that their place in the market is extremely important. They should not be thrown to the wind so that Valve can make an extra quick bucks on souvenir packages being trade-upable. Souvenirs are the one corner of the market in which none of the math defines the skin's underlying price beyond the rarity. The price and the reason why you own it is just simply based on that you want to own it. So I think there's more so like of a market sentiment reason why you shouldn't add souvenir trade-ups, but I'll get to that a little bit more in depth in a moment. Now, just a quick little aside, it also provides a good thing for the community in terms of seeing what actual demand is and what actual drop rates are, things that you can't tell with regular items because trade-ups exist. Without the trade-up floors existing, you can actually see the supply of items that are unboxed without having to do the math of how many trade-ups are happening, etc. Take one look at the Tech 9 whiteout in Souvenir, and you can see just how rare it is in Factory New, because the only way you could get it in Factory New is by unboxing it. So in a way, you could kind of see the fair value for things in this way, based purely on drop rates. In the regular collections, you can't really see it, right? The Tech 9 whiteout gets deflated prices because people trade up to it in Factory New, which of course drives the prices down due to higher supply. And even though the Tech 9 whiteout is rare, if it wasn't desirable, we would be able to see that in terms of the price action. Because without trade-up floors and without actual fundamental underlying reasons for price action, we can actually see what people are willing to pay for a skin without any external factors weighing down or inflating that price. Now, it's still not absolutely perfect, as I said. The drop rates of the case itself still manage supply. The drop rates of the actual wear tiers still manage supply. The opening costs still set a floor and a threshold in which to pass, and Valve is always going to have their thumb on the scale no matter what. But they are running without this one key filter, the trade-up filter, and I think that has a massive difference on how they work within the market and how they're priced within the market. And that's good if you want to invest in something and you want to gauge whether something actually has actual play skin demand. Well, you can take a look at the souvenir pricing because they have nothing fucking with their supplies. It's just pure supply and demand. Now, if you want to take a look at those prices and you don't know where, try out UUSkins, today's sponsor. UUSkins is the only direct marketplace access to the Chinese markets in the US and EU, and you can browse yourself without the need of a VPN or middleman. A massive inventory, chock full of listings with a bunch of different sticker crafts, charms that you can make your inventory your own. If you have any problems, you can hit up the 24/7 support line, and one of the fastest delivery times, under 12 hours or your money back. If you are interested, scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the pinned comment and check out UUSkins for yourself. Alright, so let's say Valve doesn't really care about what I just said, and they just simply want more openings at any cost. How do you actually make souvenirs better and ideally keep the fact that trade-ups don't exist within them still present within their respective system? Because there is definitely a few logistical questions you'd have to go over first. The first one being, how do trade-ups work within majors? What if you scrape off all of your stickers? Is it just a base souvenir gun? Does your output get no stickers either? If you do 1 Katowice 14 and 9 Budapest 2026s, do you have a 10% chance at a Katowice 14 souvenir? So theoretically, we could grow the supply of these legacy collections and ruin their value, right? What's the value of a 2014 souvenir being made in 2026? And it also contradicts Valve's statements that they want older skins to be collectibles, akin to card games from the past when they were talking in their New York AG lawsuit. And it kind of just defeats the purpose of a souvenir, right? Right, if you open one from a package, that one's yours, even if you open it nowadays. But if you trade up to one, well, it really has no meaning directly connected to the major itself. It's just something you trade it up to. It kind of defeats the purpose of a collectible and a souvenir. But even if you keep them within the same major, you kind of have a problem similar to case trade-ups before the knife trade-up update was even implemented. And that's that everything will eventually move up over time, especially because these collections have such terrible low-tier items within their classes, that all you're going to have is an inflated red supply, which lowers prices and lowers ROI. And the rarities are so low within souvenir packages, right, that no one's going to justify buying a $3 case, especially when everything gets traded up over time and the red prices dip down. Your ROI is simply not going to be there. There's going to be no justification for buying souvenir purchases. So, and if anything, having no trade-ups available and having that red be just exorbitantly rare and exorbitantly expensive is going to actually keep sales going more so than having trade-ups in it. I think what they're doing right now is the probable smarter play for increasing souvenir openings over time. And that's by trying to differentiate each and every single souvenir packages with these new souvenir charms. I mean, the effort they put into these souvenir charms is kind of indicative of them not really giving too much of a shit about their souvenir revenues, because there really is no effort put into them at all, which is why I'm not really worried about the souvenir trade-up thing actually ever happening anyway. I think the addition that actually helped ROI the most was their removal of consumer or the gray tier skins within all of the newer collections coming out, right? Notably, Overpass 2024 and Train 2025 are missing gray skins. They just start at light blue and then go to red. Now, that may not seem like a huge difference, but take a look at the Cobblestone package, for example. It goes from gray all the way up to red, the Dragon Lore. Now, each rarity tier is 5 times more rare than one another. So you start at 80%, then 16, then 3.2, then 0.64, then 0.26, then another 2.5x down, and that's where your Dragon Lore sits. So it's extremely rare. You're looking at like a 1 in 2,000 chance roughly for the alt Dragon Lore. Had the collection started at light blue, like all of the newer collections, the Dragon Lore would be just as rare as a knife, and the souvenir ones would not be rare at all, and the Dragon Lore would be much cheaper as a result. But I think that change alone is going to just increase openings over time anyway. So I think that souvenirs pose their own value within this market independent of, and I don't think Valve would necessarily benefit from adding souvenir trade-ups. Again, I don't think it's impossible for them not to add it, but I do think it's more likely that they don't, because it keeps some skins more accessible, more affordable, because you don't have those trade-up things, A, driving down supply over time and thus causing prices to gain, and B, having the price be artificially high to begin with because trade-up exists in the first place. I think the direction they're moving in, just making souvenirs and the collections within it just more desirable in their own right, adding charms, adding specific things that you can get extra value from opening the case for, is good in the long term. That's all for DE Bait today. Let me know what you guys think, because I do think there's a case for them both adding and not adding souvenir trade-ups within the game, so I'd like to hear what you guys have to think. Other than that, peace.